of what you guys are accomplishing.
By all means. And again, we have Mr. Stephen Bardell on today, former NBA player and sportscaster extraordinaire, I call him. Stephen, we're totally excited to have you on this broadcast today. How have you been doing?
Mel, I'm doing great, bro. Good to be with you guys. Good to be with you today.
Absolutely, indeed. Steve is notable as you're an alum from the University of my home state, U of I, as we call it. What went into your decision to attend that program?
A lot of things, Mel. I was really interested in Northwestern. I knew I wanted to play in the Big Ten. I took visits to Ohio State, Northwestern, Illinois, Michigan State, and the outlier was Notre Dame. And I was just fascinated with Notre Dame and the Golden Dome thing. But when I got there, I knew that's not what I needed.
Touchdown Jesus and all.
Yeah. So I figured Illinois would be a great spot just because, it's close enough for home for mom and dad to come see me play, but far enough that they couldn't jump in the car anytime they wanted to. So, and the decision turned out well.
Yeah, it turned out very well, if you will.
Good stuff. So, Stephen, presumably you studied something pertaining to broadcast communications. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, I've got an interesting story about that. I was actually trying to do the traditional broadcast journalism major at Illinois, and what I didn't realize is that there was lab time that was required in the afternoon. And so one day I went in to the class. We're starting the class at the beginning of the semester, and the professor stood up and really embarrassed me and said, "You know what? I don't know why you're in this class. I've never had an athlete here ever complete my class, and you're not going to be the first. I suggest you leave."
Wow.
And so I had to kind of pivot a little bit and figure that I could get broadcast journalism classes through speech communication. And so I went the speech communication route and got a lot of experience in broadcast journalism through speech communication. And then when I got my job with ESPN, I came back and told the professor in front of his class what he did, and I appreciated the motivation.
That's poetic justice in itself, huh? Yes, indeed.
So now you played on an outrageously great team, finally remembered as the Flying Illini, right?
Yes.
And then in the league for some time as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, the Flying Illini experience is unbelievable because it continues to affect my life today. I've been very fortunate to be on that team. It was an extremely memorable team because I call ourselves the originators of positionless basketball. We were a collection of guys between 6'5" and 6'8", could all switch defensively, could all handle the basketball. We could run it to the post when needed be. And so we were a very unique group, and we played above the rim. We played fast.
Oh, yes.
And so it was an unbelievable experience, and that still benefits me to this day. And, professionally, I played in Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Venezuela, and Japan overseas, in addition to some coffee breaks in the NBA with Dallas, Detroit, and San Antonio. So I've been very, very blessed. The game of basketball has taken me all over the world.
By all means.
Indeed.
By all means. Now, you talk about competing, and like many of us who have competed, you developed, I'm sure, a few nagging aches and discomforts that you live with, I'm sure. Steve, how do you cope with that, still being a pretty active guy? I mean, listen, just in the recent past, between you on treadmills, running into our football fields, and doing sprints on your broadcasts, and, post 35, that becomes kind of like work, huh?
It does become difficult.
What's your secret?
You got it. Well, Mel, you know my family, you know my parents.
Yes,
that's my
sir.
secret.
Yes, sir.
Their DNA is my secret, and I'm just trying not to mess it up. And so, if I can stay active and eat fairly healthy, I love to stay active. I love to sweat, and I'm going to be a ball player the rest of my life.
There you
I don't
go.
necessarily play basketball anymore, but I approach keeping my body in tip-top shape like I'm still hooping.
By all
Good
means.
stuff.
And you had the foresight to choose the right parents. That's wonderful.
If I had that intelligence, Yeah, I'll take that. I appreciate that compliment. The check is in the mail.
That's perfect. Now, there are a host of cable sports programming and digital sportscasts that's all in that's going on right now and all in our daily lives. What, Steve, are the differentiators, and how do you see this playing out going forward? There's so many.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're at a very interesting juncture right now in the media landscape. If you're familiar with Joe Rogan,
oh yes,
he became the richest broadcaster in the world through a podcast. So that's digital media.
Yes.
LeBron James just secured a $100 million loan, or raised $100 million to merge his Spring Hill Entertainment with another business of his to promote black creators,
wow,
black storytellers. Bill Simmons last year sold his Ringer podcast network for $200 million. And so right now we're at the precipice of people really understanding that the media aspect on the digital side is one of the best startup businesses that you can have right now.
I'll say that.
And for you and Ro, being former players, you guys have an advantage getting in this space because stories are the gold right now.
By all means.
So, if you can gather your stories and put it in a way and grow your audience, it could really be lucrative down the line.
That's great advice he's giving us, bro.
True.
He's dropping some signs on us here this
Yeah,
afternoon.
so I still love to hear the stories
By all means.
from the legends.
By all means.
Definitely. So, Stephen, during the normal basketball season, you carry a very hectic schedule. How do you balance that with life's more secular obligations?
Ooh, good question. I think, unfortunately, a lot of the secular things have to take a back seat because it's the nature of being a college basketball analyst. The way I am, I think the Big Ten goes from Nebraska to New York in the upper Midwest region of the country.
Okay.
And so I can do 4 or 5 games a week. I can be in studio once. Sometimes I'm driving after a game in Champaign to Iowa City. That's a 5-hour drive. There's usually ice or snow. I go from, Iowa City to Minneapolis or Iowa City to Milwaukee. So covering the Big Ten and Big East conferences, thank goodness, I don't need to leave that region.
Yes.
Because when I was with ESPN, I had to go all over the country.
I remember.
And that was even more difficult. So during the season, I just try to stay as healthy as I can. I try to eat as clean as I can. I try to get at least 3 or 4 workouts in a week, and try to keep my head straight because I'm taking in so much information. So it's definitely a challenge, and I think that's one of the not talked about as much aspects of our business that is very, very difficult and probably keeps a lot of people out of the profession.
I do recall seeing you back in the ESPN days, clean across the country within 24 hours. I just saw you somewhere in the Midwest one night, and you were on the West Coast the following evening, and that had to wreak havoc on changing time zones like that, eating habits, sleeping habits, and all those patterns. So you're certainly a soldier for doing it. It's 70 minutes after the hour now. We're talking with the great Stephen Bardo, sportscaster extraordinaire, and you've heard the information he dropped thus far. Young man's experience sort of cascades across various levels, and we're proud to have him today. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend.
And we're back, Athletes United, and we're speaking with Mr. Stephen Bordeaux here. And we're very proud to have him this morning. Stephen, we know that you're a father of a couple of beautiful sons, seen so many pictures of them in so many circumstances. So congrats. But in light of that, the kind of racial cauldron we find ourselves in right now, how have you squared this with them? And has this been topical in the Bordeaux home?
You know, Mel, all black families have to have that discussion with our children.
The talk.
If we really care about them, we have to fortify them for what they could possibly face out here in the world.
No question.
And my children got a little bit of an advantage over the average African-American child because my children traveled overseas extensively while I was playing, especially my oldest son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we ran into situations where we would be in Japan and Stephen Paul, my oldest son, would be on the train with my wife at the time, Leslie, and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd have our youngest son carrying him landing. And so Stephen was about 6 or 7, and these people would just stare at him. And it would make him very uncomfortable. And I would tell him, I'm like, Stephen, they've never seen anything so beautiful in their lives.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people stare.
Mm-hmm.
I said, they're looking at how beautiful your skin is, how pretty your smile is. I said, you just keep smiling, you keep looking at me and mama, and we're going to be okay.
There you go.
And then fast forward, Stephen Paul's a sophomore at the University of Illinois. He is on a bus where he's leaving the dorm, and he's just getting on a transport bus to go to another part of the campus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fight that happens in the dorm that's involving a young African-American male and a white male. And the police roll up and stop everything. They don't let anybody leave. Stephen didn't even know what was going on. And there was a police officer that came on the bus and pulled him off the bus.
Pulled him off.
Yeah. And, kind of questioned him and interrogated him. And so, of course, I was on campus the next day
Right.
talking to the police chief. And I just had to explain to them, I said, listen, the next time something like this happens, the humiliation that comes with this,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be sorry about this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because I'll bring hell to pay.
By all means.
And I had to explain to them that our kids are as valued to us as your kids are to you.
Amen.
And so when you train your officers or people that are in charge of security, you have to put that in them. Treat our kids like you would treat your kids, or you want our kids to be treated.
Think about that.
And so he had an early situation where these things happen, and so I was able to get his attention. His younger brother saw it. And so they're cognizant. I want them to live their lives, Mel and Roe, but you know how difficult it is right now.
Sure.
They have to be careful. They have to keep their head on a swivel, like they're, looking out for, if they're guarding, they're 94 feet trying to harass a ball handler.
Sure.
You got to keep your head on the swivel for a fix. It's the same thing out here, man. You got to keep your head on the swivel, unfortunately.
Look out for that pick. Look out for that blind side,
That's right.
Call it out.
But how interesting that we're still having that discussion. I think I read somewhere where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a reflection. He says that the most tragic, if there's a tragedy to this moment, he says is that some 50 years later, we're still having the same discussion. I couldn't agree with him more. It seems we're at a pivotal point in our nation's history right now, maybe an inflection point where things change. God be willing for the better. But I was just curious, Steve, if you would have encountered that kind of stuff with your sons. I find it peculiar that we have these beautiful young sons and we look at them grow and we wonder at what point do they become a threat to society, if you will.
Oh yeah, I think, Mel, that happens earlier than we would prefer. And for you and me, we both have good size, height, and our children are going to have the same thing.
Exactly.
And so, I encourage my son to blend and build with others that are like you, because there's a thing that is kind of going around, hasn't gotten a lot of momentum yet, but I wish it would. And I'm a little bit, I'm going to get out here a little bit, Ro and Mel.
Okay, go for it.
These are my true thoughts.
We're with you.
Speak your
That
truth.
Black America needs to seek sovereignty.
Oh, powerful.
We need to seek sovereignty.
You hear that, bro? You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I suggest this is because we can't get anything done until we become somewhat on the same page.
By all means.
If we don't have a charter for how we move and how we set up businesses in our community, how we protect our community, how we develop a political force, a political bloc that we are able to go out and influence and pay politicians to meet our needs, Black Americans' needs.
Oh, yes.
And that's kind of where I am right now. And I would love for us to get to, at some point, hey, we're not anti-anything.
Right.
We're not trying to keep anybody back because we don't have the power to do that anyway.
Precisely.
But if we seek sovereignty, we can start to get on the same page.
Totally
Take
agree.
people of different religious beliefs, that's fine.
Sure.
We just need people who want the best for Black people.
There it is.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
And that's where I am.
Well, I've spoken about this earlier, and thank you for giving us that much insight. But I've spoken about this earlier, where we have been outstanding in every field, if you will, including cotton, I might add. But we, as a people, can do nothing unilaterally to change our economic conditions without, and social and civic and political conditions without the kind of sovereignty you're talking about. And one way to that is through honest evaluation and honest accounting of what has been extracted, what has been extolled, what has been stolen from us as a people, as a history, as a legacy, as a genus, family of human beings down through the years in this country. And if we're talking about reparations, so be it, but that is one way to it. That is the only way to it. That is the only way to sovereign self-determination. That's the first start, if you will. So I appreciate that reflection, Steve. Okay, back to our main topic. But that was a hell of a segue, Ro. I appreciate that.
It really was. Just to stay on it just a little bit, just to not necessarily piggyback, but I have a question to you, Mel, and to you,
Sure.
Stephen. As a household with no sons, I still have a certain conversation with my daughters, but I still feel a certain type of way when my husband leaves the house or if he's gone for too long. Perfect example, yesterday, I dropped him off at a detail shop to pick his car up. And as soon as we pulled up, there's a cop standing there. I don't know what the police officer is there for, but right away I had an uncomfortable feeling and I didn't want to leave him. He told he found me out there 5 minutes later and told me, you don't have to wait, go on, But, I was nervous about leaving. I didn't know if he was going to make it home. I was worried. And so my question to the two of you is, when you're out and about on your own, what are your feelings when you're out and about? Or do you feel like you're a threat, or do you feel that people perceive you as a threat?
Well, I'm certain. And for myself, it's probably been, I don't know, somehow inculcated in how I've behaved over my years professionally and throughout corporate America. And a little guy, 5'9", and the majority race is raised in hell at work and getting outrageous with somebody. He's having a tough day. Leave him alone. He's having a tough day. Mel do that? Perhaps it's time to call security. Steve, I don't know if you've been there before, but so we learn signals. We learn signaling, if you will. Somebody coined that phrase, and I find it quite appropriate. of letting folks know I'm okay. I'm not a threat. I'm a good guy, if you will. And so publicly now, I carry myself with pride. I'm standing erect and I'm looking like I mean business. But I probably also somehow signaling that I'm safe because your life depends on it, if you will. Stephen, I don't know how you address that.
Well, I'm similar in that regard, and for me, I'm tired of making people feel safe.
Thank you.
You know, I get tired of that because I know the intention in my heart, and that I love everybody until you turn on me. I give you the benefit of the doubt, regardless of the color you are.
There you are.
Right.
But we're at this point where if we come outside and the good Lord has blessed Mel to be 6'7", 6'8", the good Lord has blessed me to be 6'6". That's a blessing.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
And the fact that we have to walk around and be smaller than what the Creator wants us to be, it gets tiring.
Think about that.
So as Mel so eloquently said, that signaling, we all do that even unconsciously, I believe,
I think
because
so.
our life depends on it. And I get tired of it. That's why I go to Africa as much as I possibly can. I don't have to do that over there.
Nobody's calling you that N-word or thinking of you as some potential threat over there.
No, and the police officers over there are smiling at you.
Interesting.
When I've encountered police in Accra, I was lost. They flagged down 2 other police cars to stop them to ask them, where is this? And then one of them took me there.
What a novel.
That's how our experience could be.
It could. It could.
In the United States. But unfortunately, it's not.
What a novel thing. What a novel thing. We were talking about policemen earlier, and sometimes being black is just passing by a policeman and looking in your rearview mirror to see if you turned around. Walking in and seeing one inside of a bank and what have you, and making certain that your hands are visible, etc.
Yep.
So we have all these various experience, and more so than defund some police. I had a friend of mine that you know very well suggest we somehow differently insure these policemen somehow. De-indemnify their bad behavior, rude behavior, and unlawful actions. Every police department has, obviously, insurance companies covering huge liabilities and law firms and this thing stated called qualified immunity, if you will. Perhaps we remove that, and it trains the way they're trained. It changes the way that they're indoctrinated, and it will obviously impact their public behavior and public conduct.
It sure will.
Indeed. It's 22 minutes after the hour. We're speaking with Stephen Bardot, and we're going to be coming back after a short break.
Edge Radio Network, where we have conscious conversation.
Edge is about love, relationships, and healing.
Edge Radio is for everyone and about everyone.
Edge is about working together.
Edge Radio is about recreating a beautiful body.
Edge is about community, synergy, and empowerment.
Edge is about being kind, compassionate, and loving to all.
And Edge Radio is about beauty and fashion.
各位观众 ，Edge Radio 是大家最好听的一个电台，不要忘记听哦。Yeah, I love Edge Radio. You can hear all about the topic and join us soon.
Edge is about being on the edge and not jumping. Yes.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters. Been feeling a little edge?
This is KGBC, Galveston, Houston, 1540 AM, and K269GS, Pasadena, 101.7 FM.
Are you ready to be pushed over the edge? Edge Radio, coming soon to 1540 AM and 101.7 FM, Houston, Pasadena, Clear Lake, Galveston.
And we're back again. I'm your host, Big Mel, with Ro Thompson. Come on.
Black Girl Magic.
All right, I heard it. And we're once again speaking with Mr. Stephen Bardot, former NBA player and sportscaster extraordinary, here on platform of Athletes United on Edge Radio, where truth still matters.
So, Stephen, tell me. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about me. My husband and I both were athletes in high school and college. I went on to play basketball and volleyball for the military and in a British league. I played in Europe, and I also played in Asia. And so we both created two kids that have no interest in sports at all.
I find that cute.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. So for you as a father, was it tempting to urge both of your sons to stay active in sports and continue the Bardot legacy, or was it a conscious decision for you to allow them to determine their own pathway?
It was, Ro, I had to be honest, it was a struggle. You know, my oldest has got my namesake, so I'm Stephen Dean and he's Stephen Paul. We look like twins, we move alike. And he wanted to play basketball, and he got to the high school level. He could have played Division II basketball, but his heart wasn't in it. So I just told him, follow your heart. Yeah. And he went into music, and then his brother went into the movies. And they're both very athletic, but they seem very happy. Mm-hmm. And they're way smarter than their father ever could be. And so all you want for your kids is for them to be happy and find their passion.
That's true.
So I've been very fortunate that they were able to do that. And Stephen Paul learned a lot of great lessons in basketball in the time that he played organized basketball through high school. And so those lessons still benefit him to the day.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to his home training.
Yeah.
How powerful.
My oldest, I took her to basketball practice with me when I lived in Asia. And after practice, we just did a scrimmage against some of the guys in there. And so she's asking me on the ride home, who won and how many points did you get? And she seems real interested. And now at this point, she's in first grade. And so I'm thinking, oh, wow, she seems kind of interested. I said, did you like that sport? And she says, yes. So I jam on the brakes and I do a U-turn. I go straight to the store and I get her a pink and white Spalding. All right, we're going to get started right away. And I signed her up for basketball, the Little League games, and 2 years in a row, I'm out there filming and, hey, yeah, come on, get the ball, run, the whole nine. And then I'm looking over one of her homework assignments, which was a journal, right? At the time, there's a space to draw a picture, and then there's a little space to write. And there's a picture of a girl who's sad with her arms folded, and down in the story is mom signing me up for basketball again.
Oh, wow.
That was the moment I realized, you don't like the sport like that, huh?
What a lesson.
I had no idea, I thought she loved it. She came to the games with me. She played around, I thought this was going to be my junior. And yeah, I found out the hard way that she hated basketball.
The best laid plans sometimes. You know what I mean?
And she spelled basketball with a KIT, basketball, Very angry, pretty angry.
What she's letting you know is that game by any spelling is not her cup of tea. Indeed.
Right. Not at all.
All right. Steve, there's lots of issues surrounding college sports currently. Particularly in NCAA has relented a bit about athletes owning their own image and being able to profit or receive compensation for it if they can market it correctly. How do you feel things changing in that world? How do you feel about things changing in that world? Will it be devastating, or is killing the golden goose, as I've heard some people try to position?
Well, Mel, you know me well, and so you just got me fired up. Here's the thing with the NCAA.
Uh-huh.
What most people don't understand is this name, image, and likeness piece that was forced on them.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason they're relenting is because they have no recourse. And so they have to let these, I don't use the word student athletes anymore because
there you go.
that was a term derived by the NCAA to avoid litigation.
Exactly.
These are athletes.
By all means.
And so these athletes with the ability, remember that word, ability, to market their name, likeness, and image, cost the universities $0. All it does, it gives these athletes the ability to go out and cut their own deals. Now, just as a little caveat, what NCAA did. You can go cut your deals, but you can't market anything inside of our jersey.
Oh, give me a break.
No, that's how duplicitous the NCAA is.
So the various member institutions aren't committing any budget behind this. This is just some, kind of crafty idea.
Yeah, this is a way for them to hold out on the last vestiges of quote-unquote amateurism.
Wow.
They desperately want to hold on to that structure because they have exploited so much money from these athletes. And what the narrative that they're pushing right now is that all this name, image, and likeness is really going to affect the NCAA. The member institutions, Mel and Roe, they have to pay $0.
My.
This is not a measure to make the schools pay these athletes. That's not what this is. All it does is allows the athletes to go cut a separate deal with a business owner, with car dealership, whomever is in the area that wants to work with them and wants to exchange, their image, name, and likeness for a fee. But it requires the NCAA and their member institutions to pay out nothing.
Wow.
And so we have to be very careful about that word.
That's totally unlikely, totally improbable, and it's going to be a rough slog for most of those young athletes who don't have mass marketing skills or any kind of digital platform behind them promoting them. But they better be careful. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you recall the young quarterback from Northwestern University several years ago. He'd come from a pretty aggressive home life of advocacy, etc. And he took this student part of his student athlete status and studied labor relations and recognized at some point that by national labor relations standards, those athletes should be regarded as employees in many respects, with due benefits, compensation, and some kind of input into their working conditions. So I would ask the NCAA to be cautious of what they're trying to craft here. It could have one resounding kind of kickback, if you would.
I would agree. I just think it's time, Mel, that guys like us, women like Roe, who have gone through the process, can come back and somehow create a forum to really highlight these things and make these athletes understand, yes, you have a wonderful opportunity, but you have to be very careful on how you maximize this opportunity.
Sure.
So there's a few things that I would like to tell athletes in terms of building up their social media status, cultivating that a certain way, being very careful. What you post is always out there.
Oh, yes.
But there are a lot of different ways that athletes can now look at opportunities. And, where a kid can go to Duke, it may not benefit him to go to Duke more so than it may go to like a Wichita State or a Tulsa or something like that, because if there's a local businessman that understands your worth and your value, you may be more valuable to that program than you would be, say, to a Duke.
Can a program outright pay me nowadays? Can a program outright compensate me? I'm a young, high school aspirant, and I'm powerful. I'm it. Can, say, a Kansas or U of I just give me some money to attend their
They've been doing it, but it's been illegal. We saw the FBI wiretap.
Yes.
And had Sean Miller of Arizona and Will Wade of LSU.
Oh, yes.
Kansas was on there as well. So, yeah, you can pay them, but it's supposed to be illegal.
I've been there. I understand. I've stood in front of coaches in my life and heard them commit to whatever I needed to have at the moment.
That's right.
Can you tell me this? How is it, and again, we get back into these equations, that young basketball players represent, I don't know what the overwhelming majority percentage is in college sports, particularly in basketball and football, and such a minute percentage of coaches, administrators, and or execs over the years, having majored in some of everything, having studied business, public relations, any kinds of modules that would have to do with managing finances, profits and loss, balance sheets, if you will, along with the public imagery. How is it that it turns out that we still represent just a low percentage of those which are awarded off the court?
Yeah, Dr. Claude Anderson, I believe he was a former he was in the economic group with Clinton.
Okay.
So he was in the administration, but Dr. Claude Anderson is brilliant. And he talked about black people pretty much develop sweat in America.
Think about that.
So from the athletes to the entertainers to the comedians to that type of genre, we create sweat. But if we are allowed to get into tennis, then you see an Arthur Ashe.
Right.
If we're allowed to get into golf, then you see a Tiger Woods. We don't just compete, we dominate.
Dominate.
It's the same way in different career fields. So if you give us, we're often told as black people to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and compete on a fair playing field.
Yes.
Well, we've never had a fair playing field. Let's just be honest.
Think about it.
But whenever there's a sliver of opportunity that we can somehow slide into, we dominate it. So from that standpoint, I understand why the structures are the way they are, Mel, because if they let us in, we'll dominate.
By all means.
And I understand. I don't like the system. I understand it. I think changes are being made. Kevin Warren is an African American who is now the Big Ten commissioner. He may be the most powerful guy in college sports outside of Mark Emmert from the NCAA. And he is committed to busting down the doors for opportunities for African Americans. So you're going to see some change in the Big Ten coming soon.
Well, you use the term busting, and that's probably what it's going to look like symbolically, because this has been a very difficult barrier to overcome. I've always contended, as you mentioned, that wherever the playing field is level and the rules are public, we dominate. Where we falter is when we don't know what happened in the meeting before the meeting. We've been a victim of that too often. And so I'm looking forward to seeing whatever that is that's culminating right now in college sports, because it sounds like there's an opportunity for freedom, if you will.
Amen.
Yes. What do you think, Ro?
Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl Magic. One more time. It's 38 minutes after the hour, and we're going to come right back with Stephen Bargo, former NBA player and sportcast extraordinaire, and the inimical Ro Thompson. We're on Edge Radio with Athletes United, where truth still matters.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageYourBP.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Are you having trouble recalling a conversation with your partner that didn't end up in a fight? Hi, I'm Dr. Viviana Coles, and I know that for many couples, effective communication does not come easy. At Houston Relationship Therapy, we help couples and individuals work through the many challenges faced while in relationships. Our experienced and dedicated relationship therapists can help you and your partner talk about even the most sensitive topics. Call 713-542-2221 or book online at HoustonRelationshipTherapy.com. Schedule your appointment today and rediscover intimacy now at Houston Relationship Therapy.
Business owners, thought leaders, when you're ready to connect with new customers, your radio station has the edge you need to succeed. Call 281-744-0446. For more information, call 281-744-0446.
Our business is helping your business from Galveston to Houston and beyond. 1540 KGBC.
Well, give us a call. 281-744-0446. 281-744-0446. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM Houston, Pasadena, Clear Lake, Galveston.
Advertising doesn't cost you money, it makes you money.
Well, give us a call. 281-744-0446. 281-744-0446. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM. Edge Radio.
Back pain can be very disabling, and when your back pain radiates down your buttocks and legs, it's called sciatica, and it can disrupt most of your activities of daily living, such as work and exercise. Hello, this is Dr. Arango with Arango Chiropractic Clinic to inform you that back pain and sciatica are two completely different things. Low back pain is usually due to strain or injury to the joints, muscles, and ligaments supporting the back, with the pain focused on the muscles next to the spine, and potentially it can move into the buttocks. Sciatica implies inflammation of the sciatic nerve and is most commonly associated with a herniated disc. If you are experiencing low back pain or sciatica, please call us at 713-868-6166. 713-868-6166, or look us up at HoustonChiroClinic.com.
And we're back. Athletes United. Speaking with Stephen Bardell on Edge Radio, where truth still matters. Now, Stephen, prior to the break, we were talking about various things pertaining to NCAA regulations and NCAA conduct, and I continue to think about something I heard the great Bill Russell raise years ago, and it was pretty much co-signed by the great novelist Jim Michener in Sports in America. Should our colleges and universities and institutions of higher learning be obligated to provide us weekend entertainment? I mean, from whence cometh that concept? It's been brilliant from an economic perspective, or at least a revenue-generating perspective. But should that be the business model going forward, given the conflict and given some of the inequities that we're speaking here of?
Well, when I look at that, it's still a wonderful opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
All three of us really benefited from our experience at the college level.
No question about it.
And I think that there are a lot of lessons. I don't think there's any disagreement amongst us that basketball is the best sport in the world.
Oh, yeah.
It more closely resembles life than any other sport, in my opinion.
That's true.
So from a basketball standpoint, having the opportunity to go through that experience, it was a great experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what I will share with you is a study that a psychologist did in 2017. He took the top 30 most profitable basketball programs in the country, men's basketball Division I.
Uh-huh.
So Louisville was the most profitable that year. If you were to take the scholarship players, use a similar model, a revenue sharing model that the NBA uses. And let's say that the NCAA got 56% of the total growth, the players got the rest. Each player from Louisville would make $1.5 million.
Wow.
At the University of Illinois, they would have made $478,000 that particular year.
My God.
Now, that's when Illinois was terrible. We were in the Final Four. We still have one of the most iconic nicknames in college basketball.
Yes, you did.
And the fact that my teammates and I aren't multimillionaires, part of that is on us, but part of that is on the system.
By all means.
And I would like that system to not flip on its head overnight, but I would like that system to become more equitable for the people that generate the income.
My God, those are some devastating statistics you rolled off there, my friend. And it's extraction by another name. In many ways, it is. It's a continuation of, us being, sort of the subjects of an upside-down labor management kind of scenario. And I would wonder also if you could draw another axis there and sort of measure the graduation rate of some of those athletes. Would it even correlate whatsoever? Because that is a money-making machine, my friend.
Indeed. While we're on basketball programs, Stephen, I can't talk about basketball without mentioning the Big Three. I know you've heard of the Big Three. Yeah?
Oh, I love the Big Three.
Oh, yeah. So it was founded by Ice Cube and Jeff Quantinez. And this would have been their, season 4? 2020's season would have been season 4, I believe, which is canceled due to the COVID-19. But when it came out, had you had any thoughts about coming back to the court?
Oh, no. No, I love to work out, but basketball hurts my body. When I get out on that hardwood and I'm cutting and jumping and starting, and my body is screaming like, Negro, what are you doing?
Hey, it's half court, though. It's half court. That's the difference.
Yeah, but Ro, let me ask you something. If I were to take you on the court right now, those competitive juices would kick back in, wouldn't they?
They would.
And your body might not keep up with the memory that you have.
Yeah, not on the same page. Definitely not on the same page.
Right. So I can't be calling games in the wintertime on crutches.
Oh, that's interesting.
So now, earlier you talked about your fitness regimen. How has COVID-19 affected the way you move? I know a lot of people have gym memberships and things of that nature. How has that affected your fitness regimen?
Really good question, Ro. I try to go to this. It's one of the more premier clubs in the country. I spend a little bit of money on it. I love it. But what I've had to do is really concentrate on home-based workouts. And then now that Chicago has kind of opened up a little bit, we can get to a track and a field. And what I really learned, because I'm trying to recover from a torn meniscus in my right knee, my physical therapist told me to, do fast walking and jump rope. Because one of the things that jump roping does is build bone density as we get older.
Didn't know that.
And so one of the things that I used to do as a kid to help my jump shot get my rhythm down was the jump rope. But now I utilize the jump rope for conditioning and all kinds of things. So, COVID has affected that. But like a lot of things that we thought we needed, all of a sudden we learned that we don't necessarily need certain things anymore.
True.
So I don't know that I'm going to have that expensive gym membership anymore because I think I can do the things I need to do without paying that money.
Sure. Stephen, I've seen you while you were a prepster and while you were in the collegiate ranks. We all have shown up at some iconic program someplace at an impressionable age, looking to some, highly renowned coach to make it happen for us, to guide us, to sort of be that leader away from our family. Stephen, that has an impact with a lot of kids. It has impacted a lot of kids. It has I'll say a lifelong kind of impact. Give me your observation on coaches and coaching models such as one Bobby Knight, and that kind of austere management style and the way he dealt with conflict resolution.
Yeah, Bobby Knight was obviously, Mel, you know, I had a very close look to him because Rose, my older brother, signed and played with Indiana his freshman year.
Oh, yes.
And then we used to kick his behind for 4 years when I was at Illinois. So, you know, with Bobby Knight, I've said this, and it was controversial in a book I wrote about our Flying Illini team. And I said that I don't know that I would have been able to play for the man. But there is one measuring stick that lets you know the success of a coach. How many of his players go into the profession?
Think about it.
And Bobby Knight has his coaching tree is as large as anybody that's ever coached the game.
Oh, yes.
I think he's the best. I think he's the best college coach ever. Because he got more from guys that could not. They might not have gotten a scholarship at some other Big Ten schools.
Wow.
He won Big Ten titles with some of those players.
Sure did.
So, with all that being said, I think the world of him from that space. But in a personal situation, I think that he was a guy that came from an older era where white men thought they had domain over us and our bodies, and he acted accordingly. And there were very few people who were strong enough to stand up to him, and thus his career was littered with situations where he had run-ins with players, run-ins with officials, run-ins with other coaches, just because he was a big man in stature and physically. He was intimidating, and it was his way or the highway, and he got away with it. And I think he's probably the last of his kind that will have that type of success.
Interesting. I understand that he's dealing with some kind of medical conditions now that has to do with dementia.
Yeah, that's right.
I would argue that it probably started way back in the early 70s, if you will. It manifested itself in so many respects. He was a highly tactical coach. I respected what he taught, particularly on defense. And I don't know. I was recruited heavily by him as a youngster at CCHS. And for full disclosure to the listeners, I think it's time we went ahead and they already know we're all from the same high school and from the same customary backgrounds. And that Miss Roy Thompson here, say it again, baby.
Black Girl Magic.
Black Girls Matter. Miss Roy Thompson here happens to be my middle daughter, and that reluctant grandkid she was talking about just happens to be my granddaughter. So it's important that we get that out. But Stephen, we're grateful to have you today, my brother. You've shared a lot of insight with us. We had a chance to meet you on this level, and I'm grateful for it. So with that being said,
thank you.
It's good talking to you, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you guys having me on.
By all means, and please come back again and share something with us again on Edge Radio and Athletes United and Edge Radio, where truth matters. Thank you again.
Hi, I'm Ben Affleck. The only thing better than playing a hero in the movies is being a hero in real life. Like the 50,000 veterans who returned from Iraq and Afghanistan with devastating injuries. They are true heroes, and they're why I'm proud to support Paralyzed Veterans of America. For more than 60 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has made a promise to never leave a fallen comrade behind. They make sure veterans with spinal cord injuries get the quality medical care, rehabilitation, and housing they need when they come home. They stay with our fallen heroes for the long term, offering counseling, job training, and support to help them regain the freedom and independence they fought so hard for, all at no cost to them. Our veterans fought for us. Let's fight for them. To learn more about how you can help, visit pva.org. That's pva.org. We will never leave a fallen comrade behind.
Been feeling a little edgy lately? Listen to Edge Radio. That'll push you over the top. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At Avanta Health Professionals, we are a dedicated medical practice designed to meet your health needs in the most efficient manner possible. At Avanta Health Professionals, we specialize in medical services that include diabetes, heart disease, pain management, hypertension, obesity. For more information, visit us at avantahealthprofessionals.com. For an appointment, call us at 713-885-9899. 713-885-9899.
Are you tired of hurting? Is there something you would like to do that you can no longer do without pain? This is Dr. Arango with Arango Chiropractic Clinic. It might be time for you to try chiropractic. Chiropractic emphasizes that the way the body is structured is highly related to the way it functions. Spinal misalignment can cause pain, decreased range of motion, and organ dysfunction. Spinal dysfunction can originate from car accidents, work accidents, and other types of trauma. They can also come from improper chronic postures and repetitive motions such as sitting at a computer or daily chores. Doctors of chiropractic use manipulations to the spine and most other joints to restore proper function and decrease pain. For more information, visit us at HoustonChiroClinic.org or call us at 713-868-6166.
1540 AM and 101.7 FM Houston, Pasadena, Clear Lake, Galveston.
145 over 92. 180 over 111.
I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
1540 AM and 101.7 FM. Edge Radio.
Injured on the job? For the past 3 decades, Arango Chiropractic Clinic has been treating patients who have been injured on the job in automobiles while playing sports or at home. As a result, the clinic has expert personnel who can help you with your workers' compensation or automobile claim to ensure that you receive the best health care and benefits. We welcome and offer same-day service to most workers' compensation and personal injury cases.